which is why it's so important to do that when you change anything at all. Because if I did that one thing, I would have avoided all of these problems. There are some things that nobody tells you about clear coat. Things that I've had to learn the hard way. And I just learned these things recently. So today, I'm gonna tell you guys what those things are, and I will explain how it could impact your paint job in a drastic way and how to avoid it. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I've been struggling lately. And I'm not used to struggling in the booth. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm from New York, and the weather here can get pretty feminine, we'll say. You know, it likes to change how it feels, like the direction of the wind. And when the weather changes, as painters, obviously, we have to adjust. And part of adjusting is changing things like the hardener or the reducer that you use. Recently, it got up to about 70 degrees in New York, and if it's 70 degrees outside, it's usually about 80 in the booth. Noting that it was getting warmer inside and outside of the booth, I decided to use a slower hardener. Now, when you use a slower hardener or reducer, it's very common to have to kind of adjust either your spraying style or your flash off times or both, which I'm used to. And while you do that, you'll probably end up getting a couple runs, which is what happened to me at first. And I really didn't think much of it. The first thing I thought was, all right, well, you know, I was using a faster hardener, so I just have to give more flash off time. So I gave more flash off time, and I still got runs. So at that point, I was like, that's odd. I shouldn't be getting runs if I left more flash off time. So the next thing that I did was bump the temperature in the booth up a few degrees. I put it up to the low 80s because the hardener I moved up to was meant to be sprayed in 80 degrees Fahrenheit. On top of that, I also bumped my PSI on my gun up a little bit. This way it would get atomized more and hopefully come out a little thinner. So we have a warmer temperature and we have thinner coats going on the panel. We definitely shouldn't get runs anymore. And we didn't, but we started getting a crap load of texture. While I throw this last coat of base on, let me tell you guys the first mistake that I was making. There are 4 temperatures you need to consider when you're choosing your hardener or reducer speed. Those are the outside temperature, the booth temperature, the material temperature, and the panel temperature. Let me know which one you guys think is the most important right now. I was switching my material according to the outside temperature because the outside temperature influences my booth temperature. But that was wrong, because just because it's 70 outside and 80 in the booth does not mean that my panels are going to be 70 to 80 degrees. And that is the most important thing to consider. What is the temperature of your panel? So because my panels were much cooler than my hardener was designed for, basically what was happening was, as soon as my clear was hitting the panel, rather than flowing out, it was balling up and drying right in the place that it landed. So we were not getting any sort of flowing out or flattening like we should have. Now at this point, I thought I had it all figured out. I was going to put my clear in the booth with the car, warm the booth up to about 90 degrees, let my panels and my material get nice and warm, and I'm gonna go in there and everything is going to go down the way it should. Well, guess what? Didn't happen. Could you guys guess why it didn't happen? If now my material temp is right, my panel temp is right, why wouldn't it go down right? At this point, I started really trying to think hard and figure it out. And I realized ever since I switched my hardener, my gun just didn't sound the same. So I was like, maybe it's my gun. Maybe my gun's dirty. I haven't torn it down in a while. So let me just take it apart and clean it really good. Did that. Still, it didn't sound right. And see, this is why I tell you guys you cannot rely on a regulator, because if you shoot your clear at 30 PSI and it lays great and you change one thing, it's not going to lay the same at 30 PSI the next time you go in the booth. And mine certainly didn't. So being that it didn't sound right to me, I realized that it has to be something else. It has to be something to do with the material. From the research I've done online, it turns out, are you ready for this? Because I bet most people don't know this. The viscosity of your hardener varies according to the temperature it was designed for, because it uses a different amount of solvents. Makes a lot of sense to me. Now, if your clear uses a reducer, that's even more drastically going to affect the viscosity of your clear. And if you leave everything the same and you spray it, but you're shooting a clear that's thicker or thinner, you're going to run into runs, you're going to run into texture issues, and you're not going to know why the hell it's happening to you. So my idea is, now I'm going to do what I did before, warm the booth up a little bit, not too much. I'm going to put it up probably to like 90 for about 10 minutes, leave my clear in there, let it get warm, let the panels get warm. Then what I'm going to do is, rather than use the flow cap on the apex, I'm going to shoot my clear with the control cap. And that has a very small center orifice. So what that's going to do is it's going to force the air to leave with a very high velocity, which is going to completely shred that clear apart into a viscosity that I'm used to spraying, or that I've been used to spraying for the past 4 or 5 months that it's been cold out. So I'm going to mix our clear up. We're going to go in there and lay 2 coats on it and cross our fingers that we get the finish we're used to getting. Now I'm going to show you guys one simple thing that you could do to avoid all of these complications before you finally figure out that it's the viscosity causing your issue. Throw a brown piece of paper up against the wall, take your gun, throw your clear in it, set your gun up. I have it set by ear. I'm probably around 30 PSI. Do a spray out. Check out the pattern. Look at the droplet size. And then wait. Just wait about 5 minutes to make sure that it doesn't start dripping everywhere. Now, my droplets still do look a little larger than I would like. You can see on top there what I'm talking about. So what I'll do is I'll turn my fan in slightly, and I'll turn my pressure up slightly, and then I'll do another spray out. So we'll go ahead right next to that one, do another one with the fan in and the pressure slightly higher. I'm probably around 32 PSI now. And if you look at the droplets there, compared to there, you can see how much finer they have gotten. Now at this point, because I did that, I have even more reason to believe that my theory is true. And all of these issues I've been having are directly related to the viscosity of my paint and the temperature of my panels. So I do believe we should be good to lay our clear. So let's lay these 2 coats and then see how everything comes out.
While I lay this clear, I just wanted to point something out really quick. If you're using an HTE style or RP style clear gun, you're more likely to notice a small change in viscosity of your clear compared to if you're using an HVLP gun. The reason for that is because HVLP guns generally are going to atomize into finer droplets compared to RP or HTE guns, which is good in some cases. But for clear, if you want to lay flat clear, it's much easier to do with an RP or HTE style gun, because they deliver a much higher film build than an HVLP gun. And with the control cap, the Apex essentially becomes a hybrid.
Now, after our first coat, I'm not sure if you guys caught the difference with how I sprayed the fender compared to the quarter. Basically, what I did was I went slower on the fender because I wanted to see if I was going to have any issues on this panel before I went heavier on every other panel in here. So now that I see, obviously, our quarter and our doors are fine because I went faster on those, and I see that our fender is fine, now I have the confidence to go back and lay a nice, slow, wet coat on all of these panels, and hopefully we end up with no issues. But so far, so good. All right, I laid the second coat on, let everything flow out. Before we take a look at the finish, I wanted to show you guys this. So if you notice here, our clear started running. This is where we turned our fan in, and this is where we had our fan full open. So I did notice that before I started laying clear, and I went ahead and I opened our fan all the way back up, but I kept the pressure where I had it at on the second spray out. When you open up your fan, you're gonna get finer atomization, obviously, because your material is less focused. So when I turned the fan in, even though we had better atomization because of the higher pressure, it still was too thick to turn our fan in. So I did turn the fan back out before I laid on our first coat, which is why it's so important to do that when you change anything at all. Weather change, hardener change, reducer change, anything changes, test how it's gonna lay before you put it on the car and deal with all the freaking issues that I dealt with. Because if I did that one thing, I would have avoided all of these problems. Because as you can see, our finish is impeccable. I mean, this is how I expect the cars to leave the booth. Absolutely beautiful finish on this one, minus it being a little dirtier because the filters are way overdue for a cleaning, and they were supposed to be cleaned first thing this morning, but it slipped my mind because it's Monday, and you know, things just like to go wrong on a Monday. I mean, it could have came out way dirtier than it did, but I just have like huge pieces like that, but obviously it'll sand out. But aside from that, the finish, finally, after screwing up like 4 cars, I got it right. So anyway, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Hopefully you got some value out of it, or at least were entertained. If you could, please consider dropping a like, comment, maybe even subscribe. If you didn't grab the Apex, they will be back in stock by May. So if you didn't grab one, don't miss the next restock. They will be back in May. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Until the next time, peace.